we're experiencing another round of oil price volatility. Obviously, this has implications for the budgets for oil and gas firms. What advice do you have for these firms?
As a member of the National Petroleum Council who's worked in this industry 42 years, I'd say this is nothing new. Oil prices go down because they went up before. They go up because they went down before. They're a commodity. They're volatile. Get used to it. If you don't like it, don't buy oil or gas. Buy efficiency or renewables, which have constant prices, therefore less financial risk. The oil companies, just like the electric utility incumbents, have to figure out different ways to use their assets, capabilities, and most difficultly, cultures to compete in a very different market that's coming at them at a speed they can scarcely imagine and much faster than their cultures will find it easy to cope with.
The lecturer answers to the volatility in the oil prices. As a member of National Petroleum Council, he asserts that it isn't a new phenomenon because, being a commodity, it's normal to experience volatile prices in the non-renewable energy sources like petrol or gas, as the oil companies figure out different ways to use their assets' capabilities. The speaker also mentioned that users may switch to efficient renewables to diminish such financial risks than complaining.
Last month, I published alongside my annual report a subject report on the development of citizenship in schools. The report celebrates the success of some schools in implementing the citizenship curriculum. It praises those schools where they have taken and have substantial developments in the subject, and which now go a long way towards fulfilling national curriculum requirements. In the report, we are critical of schools which have not taken citizenship seriously, either through reluctance or lack of capacity to make appropriate provision in the curriculum. Citizenship is marginalized in the curriculum, and in 1/5 of schools, it is less well established in the curriculum than other subjects and less well taught, and some critics have seized on this as a reason for wanting to step back from supporting it. Yet the progress made to date by the more committed school suggests that the reasons for introducing citizenship are both worthwhile and can be fulfilled, given the time and resources. Indeed, those reasons are given added weight by national and global events of the past few months. While not claiming too much, citizenship can address core skills, attitudes, and values that young people need to consider as they come to terms with a changing world. The main problems standing in the way of implementation of citizenship continue to be the lack of commitment on the part of many school leaders, an insufficient amount of initial and in-service training provision to ensure that every school can call upon teachers with subject expertise, and its uncertain place in the curriculum.
PTE Help, Sample 90 Scores Response with Transcript. The lecture emphasizes on the successful and worthwhile implementation of citizenship curriculum in some committed schools. The report also shows resentment towards some reluctant and uncommitted schools as citizenship is marginalized in the curriculum along with an insufficient amount of initial and in-service training, provision for teachers with subject expertise. But citizenship can address core skills, attitudes and values that young people need to consider in the changing world.
23,000 years ago, towards the end of the Old Stone Age, also known as the Upper Paleolithic, the weather in Europe and in many parts of the world took a turn for the worse. Temperatures plummeted, rain levels fell, and a massive ice sheet slowly advanced to cover most of northern Europe and stayed there for the next few thousand years. We know that during this glacial period, many animal and plant species sought shelter in Europe's three warmer southern peninsulas, Iberia, Italy, and the Balkans. But the question is, where did the people go? Archaeological material recovered from this time period has shown that a large number of our ancestors retreated to Franco-Cantabria, an area covering the southwest of France and northeastern tip of Spain. But was this the only area where people travelled to escape the worst of the weather? Let's go back to the growing ice sheet. In order to grow, the ice mass had to take up water, causing sea levels to fall. At its maximum, when the ice reached as far south as Germany, sea levels were up to 120 metres lower than today. That's approximately the same height as the London Eye. As a result, areas of shallow sea became exposed, and Europe's shape was very different to the one we recognise. It could be that humans lived on these exposed shores during the Paleolithic, but we have no evidence of their settlements because it's now all underwater.
PTE Help, Sample 90 Scores Response with Transcript. The lecture is based on the change in the weather conditions towards the end of Old Stone Age, such as advancement of massive icy sheet covering the northern Europe. Archaeological evidence suggests that a large number of our ancestors took shelter in southwest of France and northeastern Spain. Also, the sea levels were 120 meters lower than today, exposing more shallow sea areas to the human survival during the Paleolithic.
How often does a civilization occur? By studying that, we could look at the stars that are suitable for the development of civilizations. How many new stars appear every year? 7. But some stars are too cold, and some are too hot. Only about 20% can be considered as suitable. We all know that there are some factors for species and animals to survive and reproduce, including environmental conditions, temperature, tolerance range, body size, weights, diets, seasonal and daily activity, behavior and altitude they live. Animals migrate to find a new habitat because the change of environment, and only species that have the tolerance for new environment could survive and reproduce. Human beings are the only organism that makes extensive use of technology to extend the limits of its natural tolerance range.
PTE Help, Sample 90 Scores Response with Transcript. The lecture is based on civilization. Apparently, almost 20% of the stars can be considered suitable for the development of civilization. Not only there are some factors for species and animals to survive and reproduce, including environmental conditions, tolerance range, diets, behavior, and the altitude they live, but also they migrate to a new habitat. However, humans can live beyond the tolerant limits due to technology.